for now. So welcome again. Welcome to Meditation Night. And welcome to anyone who's on the challenge. If you haven't heard the challenge, that's all right. You don't need to be on the challenge, but anyone who is on the challenge, 7 days in, hope you're going well. And in case we've not met before, my name's Arthur Siddy. I'm one of the team here. I thought actually we'd start just by diving into meditation. We'll just do a short meditation at the beginning, just to sort of arrive and settle before we explore the theme for tonight. So if you just want to settle into your posture, we'll just meditate for kind of probably even less than 10 minutes. So just a short meditation.
Can I just start by just checking that anybody who's sitting in the camera doesn't mind being in frame? So
Ezra,
the back of your head will be on the video. It's your opportunity to start. Okay, that's good.
Great. So yeah, just when you're ready, closing your eyes. And as soon as you close your eyes, meditation has started. And just taking a few moments to acclimatize and for your inner world to start to become apparent. So this one here is free. Yeah. And let's start just by kind of just feeling how we are in this moment. Just see if you can tune into that a bit more. So tuning into how the body is. And how your general mood is. Just being open to it. Don't need to know what it is as yet, just be open. There's just this process of tuning in. So not trying to do anything. We're not trying to change our experience in any way. Just let it be what it is. We're just taking time to tune into it. It does take time. And you might have started to notice the sort of weather of your thoughts, current weather. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's blustery thoughts blowing all around or quite calm. It's all just information. And then let's particularly start to tune in more to the body. So it's starting with feeling those sensations where the body's in contact with the ground. So just feeling them, that direct sensation, not trying too hard. So feeling all the sensations where the body's in contact with the ground, if that's the feet, as well as the bottom, the cushion being the ground, included in the ground, or chair. It's that direct contact. Bits of the legs if you're sitting down. So in this way, just slowly gathering into the present moment. Letting it all be what it is. Just relaxing any impulse to try and change it or even want it to be different. And then starting to feel in the body the sensations of breathing. See if you can find where in the body you feel the sensations of breathing most strongly. So see if you can just enjoy that sort of massaging motion of the breath. And see if you can feel it happening through more and more of the body. Feel the whole of the chest and the belly. Sort of squeezing and releasing in this massaging sort of motion. And then can you feel it in the back of the rib cage? Perhaps more subtle. Just relax and see if you can feel that happening. Can you feel it in the shoulders and the arms? Perhaps even subtly in the hands, some sort of movement. Just rippling into the hands. And then perhaps the whole body. And now just starting to attend to your feet, or perhaps just one foot, perhaps just the left foot. And let's just get a bit curious about this experience. So just have a look at your experience of the left foot and just notice, are you attending to felt sensation? Or is there some element of shape to your experience of the foot? Or is it a combination of the two? So if there's a sense of shape, that's actually a mental image. It's an idea that we're attending to. So just see if you can give your attention more to the felt sensation. And see if that makes the sense of outline image less prominent in your experience of the foot. Great, and then just relaxing as we come to the end of this short meditation exercise. And when you're ready, adjusting back out of the meditation. So see if you can extend mindfulness out of the meditation. Great, so we're going to meditate again shortly, probably in about 15 minutes. So save your knees, save your meditation knees. Just feel free to sit up out of meditation, otherwise you're going to be sitting for about 50 minutes. Right, so this week we're following a little structure that Shubhanaga introduced last week of the 4 levels of awareness, and we'll focus this week on self-awareness, this aspect, second level of that structure. But we'll take a particular way into that, which is looking at thinking, our thinking, and how do we work with that in meditation. And this is it's a sort of key area, isn't it? You can very easily sort of pick up the notion that meditation is about stopping thinking, which is a bit of an unhelpful idea. But how do we actually work usefully with thought in meditation? And what is the relationship with self-awareness? So one way into that question, what is the relationship with self-awareness, is that actually it's not always that easy to know if we're aware or if we're not. Are we in an aware state, just going through the day, at any moment? Are we in an aware state, self-aware state, or not? And what you'll probably find is that when you're not self-aware, your thinking tends to flatter you that you are. Yet when you're not self-aware, your thinking kind of tends to flatter you that you are self-aware. So what this is getting at is that thinking is not a very good, it's not always very helpful for us for really identifying what sort of state am I in? Am I in an aware state or not an aware state? It's a little example for me as I was thinking about this area. I was in the toilet washing my hands. I was just before a meeting, had a meeting with somebody, and I start to, without even sort of intending to, I'm starting to plan the meeting that I'm about to have. And I just kind of caught myself doing it. Partly I caught myself doing it because I was starting to get slightly intoxicated. It's an amazing thing that we can do, isn't it? We can be there kind of washing our hands, doing something completely different at the same time as kind of planning a meeting that's about to come up. And there I was kind of getting slightly intoxicated at that human capacity to kind of multitask, to kind of do two things at once. Maybe it's just me, maybe you don't recognize yourself in that. But there I was, and because I started to get intoxicated with it, slightly sort of, oh look, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm kind of really on the ball here. It was that sort of kind of story. Because I was getting, I noticed there's a slight element of intoxication. I thought, beware, beware. And I actually, in that moment, I had a vague sense that what I was starting to plan, I'd already planned. Do you ever find yourself doing that? You've already planned something, but there you are kind of planning it again, not quite aware that you're replanning what you've already planned, yeah? So just a little snapshot of a moment in my day that involves thought. And in that moment, it feels like, well, the story that I'm telling myself is that I'm really on the ball. I am really aware. It's only because I know myself well enough that when I start to get intoxicated about kind of being able to do lots of stuff, it generally indicates I'm not, I am not aware. And lo and behold, when I sort of came back into the body, I started to notice, oh, I'm just anxious actually. So this anxiety is driving me to sort of pre-plan this meeting that I've already planned, or at least the information that I need to plan I've already got. But I'm just sort of slightly anxiously kind of thinking there's not much time, and that is driving the thinking. That is driving the planning. Yeah. So it was only when I stopped thinking and moved back into the body that I actually started to step into self-awareness, but very easily. I'll tell you more the arc of this learning actually, because in the past I used to think that if I can do more things and faster, that's a good thing, isn't it? I used to get sort of quite impressed with myself at the speed and the amount of things I could sort of get through. Yeah, so there we are, a little moment where actually thought is kind of flattering me that I am self-aware, and I'm not self-aware. One of the problems with this is we've got one word for thought in our language, really, our one main word, whereas Buddhism's got more than one. So Buddhism's got this word prapancha, which means kind of habitual thought or automatic thinking or driven thinking. And that's what was going on for me. I hadn't decided to plan. In fact, I didn't need to plan because I had already planned. It was just an automatic process, that sort of automatic thinking. So that's what propuntia is. So we generally stick with that word because it's really helpful to have a word for unhelpful thought. And we don't really effectively have one in English. So propuntia is a really helpful word to sort of adopt. If you're struggling to sort of identify what that is, it's this automatic thinking. Sometimes it's very obvious, isn't it? You sit down to meditate and the thoughts are just churning and churning and churning, kind of going round and round and round. It can be really, really obvious. Sometimes it's less obvious. Sometimes we think that we're choosing to think. It's not propuntia, it's not automatic, it's not driven. But if you try and stop thinking about that topic, and then you notice that 2 minutes later you're thinking about it again, that indicates that it's propuntia. It's propuntia, it's automatic thinking. So that's what this can help us do is become more discerning about what's helpful thought and what's unhelpful thought. Yeah, that's a really, really valuable thing to be able to do in meditation. And that's because this sort of state of propuntia, we might think we're kind of doing something quite valuable, as I did, but actually we're in this sort of twilight of unawareness. That's really what's going on, that we're actually not really we're not really thinking, we're being thought. These automatic thoughts that we're sort of identifying with, out of which we make decisions, but we're not really making those decisions. Those decisions are actually being made. How propuntia works is it's thought that kind of falls into our underlying habits of mind. Yeah, it's like the mind has sort of grooves in it. As we act, as we think, we develop a tendency to think that thought again, to take that action again. So our thinking, unawares, is kind of falling into these underlying grooves. Those underlying grooves are going to lead you to act in the same way that you've always acted, and have the same experiences that you always have. And thus we're kind of stuck in a loop, in a cycle. So that's what's happening with propuntia. It can seem innocuous, harmless, just going on in our own head. It's not, folks. It's not at all innocuous. Actually, it's sort of kind of dissolving self-awareness. That's what's happening. More and more, your sort of initiative and self-awareness, your sort of taking ownership of your life is kind of dissipating away from you. Yeah. So the more we can actually identify this, the more we'll start to be able to develop self-awareness, step out of that propuntia into self-awareness. But it does take a bit of I'd say what the process is actually. The process is more like a sort of weaning off. I don't know about you, but I was quite persuaded that some of my thinking was really quite useful. That if I just keep thinking this through, then I'm going to come up with some really helpful solution to that situation that's worrying me at work, because that person keeps saying that thing, or whatever it is. I was quite persuaded that my propuntia was useful. So the process for me, and perhaps for many of us, is kind of weaning ourselves off belief in propuntia being valuable. Yeah, and that's partly what we're doing in meditation, what we'll try and explore tonight, how to just sort of experiment, sort of take a little, try it out, let's sort of drop the propuntia and see where that leads. Does that actually lead to a greater degree of self-awareness? out of which actually you'll come to better solutions that aren't governed and led by your habits. Instead, they're self-aware solutions. You see what I mean? Yeah. So if we can identify propuntia, step out of it, then we'll be able to identify, we'll be able to actually sort of take the initiative and think in a helpful way. Yeah, in an aware, self-aware kind of way. So yeah, the thing is kind of how do we do that? Because we are, the way the Buddha talked about it was we're addicted to thinking. And I think that's a helpful way of thinking about it. At times more evidently than others, we're sort of addicted to thinking. We're persuaded that our thinking is going to help us. So one way of working with it is actually getting interested in states beyond thinking, what's called nisprapuncha. Nis means not, nisprapuncha. If we can actually just sort of get interested, get curious about what are those states, what is it like actually to be in those sorts of states? Because we somehow tend to think that thinking is sort of really central to us, and that without thought we're going to be, you know, in a sort of vacuous state, a bit like a cow just kind of chewing its bird. But let's have a look. So a great example that we can all relate to, actually, a friend Mike Tragandu kind of pointed out, is, you know, that experience at the end of a film, a really, really good film that you've been to. There you are, perhaps in the cinema, and the credits start rolling. It's the end of the film. And people are starting to leave, but you don't want to move. You are just there in this kind of very enjoyable, sort of enriched state of awareness, but there's no thought. There's actually no thought. You're not thinking, oh, what happened there? What happened there? You're just in this kind of it's quite pleasurable state. It's also enriched. It's actually kind of meaningful, isn't it? It's sort of it's enriched with meaning, but there's absolutely no thought. So you can also get it with music. Sometimes it just starts to emerge, and you just thought actually just disperses away, but you're instead of there being an absence, there's an enrichment of awareness, and you're aware of yourself, aren't you, in that moment? You're self-aware, aware of being aware. That's really what we mean by self-aware. So that's where we're headed with meditation. That's where we're trying to go. So when we're coming back to the breath, what we can do is we can have this sort of curiosity as to that state that can open up if we stay, if we just extend our attention to the breath just a little bit longer. Let's notice the state that is arising in that moment. Yeah, very, very easy just to focus on when we've got distracted and then get slightly irritated that, oh God, I've done it again. Instead, let's turn it around and let's just notice the seconds, you know, where we're actually attending to the breath, and let's just see if we can extend them for a half second longer, just so that we can familiarize ourselves with this state, these moments, these rare moments of enriched self-awareness, of nisprapuncha. Yeah, so that's what I'm proposing we do. We try out in this meditation, the key to that, the key to stepping out of prapuncha, is the body. We don't just think our way out of propuntia, we step out of it into the body. Yeah. So that's why I did that little exercise at the beginning, to really see what attending to the body is, because we're usually in a sort of combination of kind of mental experience and physical sensation. What we're trying to do with the mindfulness of breathing is to dial up physical sensation. If we can just extend our attention to the physical, direct physical experience of the body for a little bit longer, we kind of dial it up and we therefore dial down the kind of mental sort of unaware propuntia sort of state we're in. If we don't do that, our attending to the breath might just be a mental image of the breath, yeah, and that's not going to help us actually go deeper. Yeah, it will mean that you keep getting distracted, or will contribute to you keeping getting distracted. Yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll try and dial up the physical, the direct physical sensation, and dial down the mental. It's important to say, if you do get thoughts coming, just let them be there, but don't get caught up in thinking them. Yeah, it's a dead end trying to stop your thoughts. Don't bother getting into that. Just let thoughts be there, but don't get caught up in thinking them. Yeah, just let them come in and let them go. And you can do that if you attend to the body. Yeah. So we sort of stand in the body. And then the last thing I'll mention is that if you do keep getting repeated thoughts, what's sometimes called sticky thoughts, the same thought kind of coming back and coming back and coming back, that's really interesting. Well done for noticing that. We need to approach those a bit differently. So with those, see if you can come into the body. Bring your awareness into the body and what's happening in the body, as it were, underneath that thought. Yeah. See if we can discover what's driving that thought. And it's in the body that we start to discover that. If we stay with the thought, we'll never identify what's actually driving it. We're sort of convinced in the value of kind of thinking that thought. If you come into the body, we can start to discover what this might be about. In my case, with the example that I gave in the toilet washing my hands, it was anxiety. Oh gosh, this meeting's coming up. I haven't thought about it. I'm going to whiz over. Slight anxiety, just kind of fueling propuntia. What was helpful in that moment was just to come back into self-awareness, yeah, and realise that I was just getting slightly anxious, yeah. But that I discovered in the body. So that's what we'll do. We'll just try and dial up physical attention to the physical experience of breathing, and we'll keep this kind of curiosity to this state of nisprapuncha that opens up if we just extend our attention to the breath just a little bit longer. And then if you get sticky thoughts, let's look underneath the thoughts in the body. If we can find out anything about what's driving it. If we can get to what's driving it, then you won't be as interested in thinking. Yeah. Start to undermine the interest in that thought pattern. Does that all make sense? Everyone happy with what we're going to try and do? Great. Okay. Well, let's give it a go. So all we're doing really is dropping the idea that we control thoughts and just trying to learn what we can actually do to work with thoughts. So I'll ding the bells for the stages, and I'll give you just a brief reminder of what those stages consist in as they come up. But for now, just closing your eyes, and as soon as you close your eyes, you're meditating. And let's just relax. And familiarize yourself again with your inner world. Notice how it's subtly different from the last time you closed your eyes. So again, relax any impulse to change your experience in any way. Let's instead just tune into it. If there's thoughts coming, just let them be there. Let's see instead if you can ground yourself in bodily sensation. Rather than getting caught up in the thoughts, thinking the thoughts. And then see if you can really tune into the physical sensations of the body. Is what you're attending to actually a felt sensation? Or is it a sort of outline, sort of mental image? So really seeing if you can contact those felt sensations, the contact with the ground where they're really tangible. So let's start with the feet. Just feeling those sensations in the feet, whatever's there. And the ankles, just feeling what's happening in the ankles and the shins and calves and knees. In this way, we're just dialing up direct physical sensation of the body and the thighs, fronts of the thighs, and then the big muscles at the back of the thighs. Feel that sort of strange sense of weight, muscular weight. Your bottom and your hips. And then the lower belly. Really feeling the sensations rather than attending to the outline. The lower back. The middle of the back. Shoulder blades. Feeling sensation in the chest. Relaxing any expression on the face, in the face. Let the skin spread over the scalp. And then coming back to the torso, the abdomen, and finding those sensations, feeling those sensations of the movement, the in and out of the breath. And we're just going to try and extend our attention, prolong our attention to those sensations. And when the mind goes off, you've noticed that, well done. And we just come back and prolong our attention just a little bit longer with a curiosity to this state of Nisprapancha. So in the first stage, to prolong that attention, we just count after the out-breath if we've managed to stay in contact or feel the sensations of the whole of the in-breath, the whole of the out-breath. And then again, after the out-breath, count 2. So it might only be a few seconds that you stay with the felt sensations. That's fine. Let's just get curious about the actual experience of no thought. And in stage 2, counting before the in-breath. So only count if you're in contact with the sensations of the body breathing. If not, just go back to 1. So really getting curious about this state of Nisprapancha, no thought. So in the third stage, dropping the counting, just seeing if you can extend, prolong, feeling the sensations of the body breathing just a little bit more each time. And if you've already found that you've got some sticky thought going around, just feeling into the body and what that indicates is going on underneath the thought, driving it. Is there some sort of mental, emotional component? So in stage 4, feeling all the sensations of the breath, and in the midst of that, just lightly placing the focus of attention where the breath first enters the body. So keeping this curiosity alive. Does our direct bodily experience increase self-awareness? And now as we come towards the end of the practice, drop any effort that you're making. Just relax and see what happens in the body, in the mind, when you drop the effort. So we'll go for a tea break in just a moment. We've got 4 seconds for any questions. So be quick. I'm just really curious to know how you've got on with that. It's quite a subtle area to be exploring, but it's really crucial. Really crucial. You all look very, very thoughtful.
It's like after a movie when we're quiet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Was it a helpful thing to be focused on? It was. What was helpful about it?
For me,
Yeah.
it takes me to a place of huge reflection.
Right.
Very, very reflective, contemplative.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But without anything specific coming to mind.
Right. Yeah. So you weren't thinking thoughts, but you're just in a sort of deeper, more. Yeah. You said reflective. Yeah. Yeah. So it's sort of changed your state of mind.
Completely.
Yeah, completely. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that is hard to talk about, isn't it? Yeah, great. Thanks. Sorry, what's your name?
Zoe.
Zoe. Great. Thanks, Zoe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did anyone find that they were able to sort of just extend? They find it helpful sort of having that approach of just trying to extend for a little bit longer attention to the actual physical sensations of the breath. Did anyone give that a go? Zoe did. Yeah, you did as well, Kylie. Yeah. And you found you were
Very brief.
Yeah. It is brief, isn't it? Yeah, but it's something, isn't it? Yeah, and you can, particularly if you get interested in the actual experience, it's kind of, it can keep you engaged. It's very, very easy, isn't it, to think, oh God, I'm off again. I mean, what's the point in sitting here? Isn't it? I'm sure no one else's mind's like this, you know. Yeah, but just a little bit longer. Yeah. And did you discover anything about that experience?
It was that, I guess, the self-awareness, because it was only
Right.
probably once I really recognised that I was able to kind of hold it or get
Oh yeah.
back or become aware.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it was very, very brief though, I have to say.
Right. Yeah. But you
But
could.
very calm.
But very calm.
Very
Yeah.
calm. I feel very overwhelmed with calmness.
Yeah. Right. So it's had quite an effect. So that's really, really interesting, isn't it? You know, you kind of struggle away, you know, with thoughts all over the place, but the effect is that you're much more calm and you feel state's quite changed. It's really, really important to notice that with meditation, because all too easily we can just have a, you know, I was dead distracted sort of write-off story, and not notice that actually we're in a significantly different state even. It's bizarre to see that, but it's true. Yeah. Great. Hi, Ezra.
When I meditate in the group, I always usually panic a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot move, I cannot make
Oh, right. Other people will hear me.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really trapped there sometimes. But this time, like, I felt the blood circulating in my body.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just so blown away.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
able to get out of it and go inside.
Yeah. Really good. Yeah, it is really weird, isn't it? Sometimes you think, surely my heart isn't beating that loud all the time. Yeah, it was a bit like that. Yeah.
And breathing like fast and
Yeah. I mean, mostly we're in this sort of twilight kind of propuncher sort of mental, you know, really dialed up mental experience. Modern life is so overstimulating, isn't it? That we're in this kind of, we're not actually we're hardly attending to our physical experience at all. It's just a sort of an image that we're aware of as an image on the end of our head. You know, we're just sort of vaguely aware that there's, you know, there's an arm waving over here. And that's all too easily with modern life. That is what our actual experience of modern life is. It's not really an experience at all. It's a sort of a cipher of experience, a sort of just an image. Whereas actually, if we come into the physical experience, you start to enjoy your physical experience, which means you're more alive, and that's where self-awareness kind of emerges. That's where it sort of starts in our physical experience. Yeah. We should go and have a physical experience of a cup of tea.
Brilliant. Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the sensations of the tea going warmly into your body. Yes? No? Great. Okay. Come on. So we're continuing sort of this theme in the second half, because we talked last week about awareness is revolutionary, and awareness is revolutionary every week, every time we do something about awareness. So not just for last week. And awareness is awareness of everything. So we're going to talk a little bit more about how we can think less about our breath and just feel it more, become aware of the sensations in our body of that breath. And the Artisides talked about attending to the body and seeing what's beneath. So we're going to see if we can do that in different ways and just enhance that a little bit more. So you probably already sort of get a sense that you know a bit what's going on. When your body's calm, very often the breath is smooth and silent, isn't it? But after we've done some physical exercise, those of you might like to do it, might choose to do it. Some of us have to run for a bus or something. We don't actually choose to do it. But when we've had that physical exertion, then we can, our breath becomes faster, deeper, louder. And it takes some time for that to go down again. So we're getting some indications here, aren't we, about that the mind and the breath are interlinked in some way. They're interconnected, and actually that the body is the anchor and the key. It's the storyteller. It's the story holder about what's going on, and that if we can pay more attention to it and really know what's happening to it, then we'll get more of an awareness of our whole self and what's going on for us. So sometimes when we talk about actually meditating, we talk about sometimes if people are feeling really dull or sleepy or falling asleep, they might move the breath from their toes upwards. They might just move the breath up a bit. And that somehow will make you more alive, more awake. And if you get sort of overexcited or, you sort of feel you need to calm down, then we can move our breath down. We can go the other way. And that will have an effect on us. And we'll know we'll be able to see that and feel it. So we'll be going, in a way, out of our heads and into our bodies. So we'll be getting, as Sylvie said, underneath what's going on in our bodies. But I thought what we might do is perhaps have a go, concentrate on our experience of our breath in different parts of our body, explore the sensations, and then in specific parts of your body. So let's give this a go. You willing to give it a shot? Okay. So just settle for a moment. And we'll just let the sounds and chatter from the tea break settle. And see if we can get a sense of our whole breathing body. So I want you to actually take your focus to your abdomen. We know that externally, if we look at our abdomen or we get a sense of our abdomen, we know that it's rising and falling. So that's the sensation, the body actually moving, rising and falling. And can you get a sense of the breath internally? At what point does the breath touch your abdomen? And take your focus now up to your head. Let's get a sense of your head, your skull, your jaw. We know that we breathe in through our nostrils. We practice that with the mindfulness of breathing. But can we get a sense then of where the breath is in the head, internally? Keep noticing, be curious. Now focus on your throat. The breath does go into the throat. Do you get a sense of any quality of that, or a sense of the breath at all there? That sensation might be pleasant or unpleasant, or perhaps it's neutral, perhaps there's nothing there. And take your attention to your heart area. Notice what's happened. Do you get a sort of external feeling there? Do you get a feeling of warmth? A tightness, an expansion? And internally, do you get a sense of where the breath is around that area? And then take your attention to your lungs. What's the sensation there? What's the feeling tone? What's the quality? And then take your attention back to your abdomen. What is your experience of your breath in your abdomen? And now just let go of focus just for a moment. Just sit with your whole experience. And I'll ring a bell at the end. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is just talk to someone near you, get into twos, and just share what happened for you there. Did you discover something? What was that like? And we'll have 2 minutes each. I'll ring a bell after 2 minutes so you can swap over. Okay. Have you had enough time to talk both? Wonderful, great. Okay, well, it sounded as though a lot happened there. Crikey. Who never knew so much was going on inside? Is there anything anyone would be happy to share with us about what happened or what came out of your discussion? Hi.
Well, we were sort of discussing that you sort of take it's like breathing is very much in your day-to-day life like an autonomic process. It's basically something you don't think about, but actually when you focus on it, it's like you could describe it, it's like being in a car that's driving itself and then suddenly you put your hands on the wheel and then you can't really focus on anything else, and you get these sensations that you're experiencing that you don't think about. And that is also very sort of serene. You can't really seem to sort of acknowledge anything else. So when you're saying, oh, what does it feel like in the abdomen or something like that, you're focusing on the sort of what the sensation is, and it's very sort of serene, and you're not got the pre-puncture sort of, and it's like I was like thinking about like how my feet felt in like the different stages of the breath, which is something I've never thought about before, but was again like very sort of serene.
Good. That's great. Yes. And that's a great sort of example, isn't it? That it is there all the time. And yeah, we're just on automatic mostly, aren't we? Right. Thank you.
I'd like to share that I wonder, it's more a question. As I focus on the abdomen, that's where I carry a lot of my stress. So on a day-to-day basis, I have sensations and often quite a lot of tension there. And I guess my question is, when I'm aware of it, I'm acutely aware that I've got tension and stress there, which releases more when I breathe, and I consciously breathe in my stomach. And I'm thinking, do I have this all day long? And do I live with this every moment? Because I'm just aware of it right now, and therefore I need to be more in tune with what's going on, because that needs to be released. It's not healthy to have tension in one area. I mean, the abdomen is just one place, but it could be any area in your body where there's storing some energy of some kind. So my question is, gosh, do I carry this around all the time? Or is it just the moment where I'm tapped into it? But my feeling is it's there all the time, and I need to explore that a bit more.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Until we're really in tune with our body, we don't know what's there all the time, do we? Yeah, just to I mean, you've done really well to spot that it is there and there is tension, and that needs to be sort of breathed into, it needs to be kindly held, and that you know that's there. But, you can check at any time what's happening. This is the beauty of this. And very often other things tell us, as Arthur City was saying, our minds might go off and we might think, what's happening? Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes for me, if I'm a bit anxious about something, I know I can feel myself thinking about something that won't make me be with that. So it's just gently coming back to just checking what's going on, in the whole of ourselves. And the body and the breath are just, are just wonderful tools for us. They just tell us what's going on if we'll listen, if we look and listen. Yeah,
that's what I felt like the thought that I did have, because I found it quite hard not to have thoughts this time, was my body is a complete sat navigation system, a communication vessel, and actually what do I need to listen? What is it telling me?
Yeah.
And I need to listen more.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes is the answer to that. Yes. We need to listen to our bodies. Our bodies tell us things. They store things, there's all sorts of things in our body, but they also tell us, they'll tell us of immediate danger. We know that there's a tension, isn't there? But also they, things that are going on in our mind that we're not aware of, all sorts of things. Yeah, listen to your body. This is the secret. Yes. But it is a lesson. And it is something that we, very few of us do naturally. We learn it. So I do it much more now than I ever did. But it's just remembering to do that the whole time. Anything else? Gosh, wonder what all that talking was about. Okay, well, so we've had lots of learning tonight. We're learning about thoughts, learning about what our breath feels like, learning about listening to our bodies, attending to our bodies, seeing what's beneath other things going on. So it won't be very long, the sections, but let's do a mindfulness of breathing and see if we can put some of this into practice. Okay, I won't say too much. And so well done for making it this far, those of you on the challenge. And you've got a whole other set of skills and tools now to take on into week 2. And remembering that we're honing our skills on the cushion, but the beauty of this is we can use them anywhere. So if our thoughts are going wild, if something's happening with our emotions, we want to know something, just check in with the body. Just check in with the body and the breath. Okay, so you don't have to remember all this. There'll be a video out, and that'll come out tomorrow. So you'll be able to listen to it again during the week if you want to.
Sunday. Get sent out Sunday.
It gets sent out Sunday.
So you have to remember it till Sunday.
Yes, there's a big gap, isn't it? Okay, it gets sent out on Sunday. So I have to remember that. Okay. Yeah, and just keep practicing. Just get on the cushions and keep trying. And yeah, if you can't get on the cushions, just have a check out what's happening here. Have a listen to your body. Perhaps your body will let you know why you didn't get on the cushion. Who knows? And yeah, just remembering awareness is revolutionary, and we are on that path. Yes.
Can I ask, because I feel a bit embarrassed but always when I'm meditating, at least 50% of me is looking forward to it being over. You know, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the bell. How do you deal with that? That's the approach to that.
Well,
Because I've been meditating for years and it's never left me.
Okay. Well, that's a really interesting thing, isn't it? So, A, you've noticed that, and B, you're still meditating. So there's something about, well, what's happening in your mind here, isn't there? What's happening in your mind? You could try taking that one. Have you tried taking that into your body? Well, if I'm sitting here, if I get this thought, well, when's it going to end? Well, what's happening? What's underneath that? If where's my breath? Where's the tension? What's going on? Look for it somewhere else, which is the teaching of this week, isn't it? That we do that. So you could you explore it. That's the thing. Explore it and see what you come up with. Does that any help?
That's a start.
It's a start. It's a great start. And I think it's just fantastic that you're still meditating.
Yeah.
You're there, you're still meditating, even though you're thinking, well, when's this going to end? And yeah, do that, to explore more and let us know how you get on.